Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon to all our 12 Monarchs out there in Monarch Nation, coming off a frustrating loss at Marshall this past Saturday. Right now, it's simply about execution for all of us, coaches and players. We've got to find a way to execute better than we are at this point. Marshall's an outstanding football team. They rarely lose at home. It was their homecoming. They've got a top 10 defense in the country, but certainly a team that we were playing well with for long stretches of this game. We've just got to find a way to get more explosive, particularly offensively. I felt like we were ready to play in the first half of this game. We ran 37 plays to Marshall's 24 plays. We had more yards than Marshall did, but the telltale of this one was the fact we were inside the 10 twice early in this game and only came away with a field goal. You need to score points when you're down there, particularly against a team that's as hard to move the ball against as Marshall is. Down 7-3 at the half, down 14-3 entering the fourth quarter. It was our inability, particularly in the third quarter, to get anything going on offense. We didn't have any first downs in that third quarter, too much pressure on our defense. Special teams wise, Bailey Kate continues to perform at a high level, 41-yard average on 4 punts, but we hurt ourselves kickoff return. We fumbled the ball. They returned for a touchdown, and we muffed a punt in one that was well blocked that we could have had an explosive return. Defensively, felt we were very good in the first 3 quarters especially. We only allowed 130 points at the half, 1 touchdown. Then in the second half, we got beat on an out and up. We got beat on a seam ball. We got beat on a fade. They hurt us in the pass game in the second half in some critical areas. A lot of it had to do with executing what we needed to do technique-wise, but also we were on the field far too much in the second half. Offensively right now, it's about finding a way to finish drives and create explosive plays. We only had 5 plays in this game, over 10 yards out of 63 plays, and we've got to get better in that area. And that's something we started to work on last night in practice and will continue throughout the week. This week's opponent, Western Kentucky, another good football team. They're the defending league champs. They're 4-2 right now, 2-1 in the league. Offensively, they've got one of the better, if not the best, quarterbacks in the league, and Mike White. They're throwing for about 300 yards a game. Defensively, another solid unit, only allowing 18 points a game. They're well coached. They're physical. They've only had 2 away games to this point. They've had 4 games at home. On the road, they've lost to Illinois, and they had a really close game at UTEP a couple weeks ago. So we know we've got a lot of work to do. We're excited to do it. Our players are focused. They want to win. They want to improve. And coming home, playing on Friday night, a blackout on national television, we'll be excited to play in this game, and I will gladly take questions.
You've done this before, a Friday night game, a scheduled Friday night game. What are the challenges it brings with a short week, and how you had to sort of adjust your usual schedule?
The only real challenge is just one less day of preparation, so you got to cram a little bit more into it. But we did something yesterday we've never done. We put the pads on and went out and practiced, partly because of losing a day, but there's the other part about the bad taste everybody's got in their mouth right now. I equated it to the players. It's like going through a slump in baseball, where you're just not hitting. And the best way to get out of the slump is you got to practice. You got to get in the batting cage. You got to get out on the field against live pitching. You've got to do it at a high level. So we address the 2 biggest areas right now we're not having success. Number one is our inability to throw and catch and get explosive plays. Well, that's all we did yesterday was throw and catch the ball and try to push it downfield. Then defensively, we're not getting the turnovers, so we emphasized, ripping at the ball, grabbing it, doing drills yesterday in practice that were about turnovers. So we went out and went hard yesterday on a day where normally it's not hard practice, and the players wanted that. They wanted to practice at a high level because they want to get out of the slumps. And we're going to do the same thing tomorrow morning. We're going to put the full pads on. We're going to play tackle football, and I feel like we're the healthiest we've been all year, so we can do that. We can go out and practice aggressively to try to get out of this slump. So we'll make up for that day that we're missing with just the intensity of the practices.
Bobby, given the coaching change at Western, how, if at all, are they different schematically, offensively, defensively from a season ago?
They look very similar. Yeah, very similar. I think that Coach Sanford, it wasn't a lot different philosophically from Coach Brum, the previous head coach, but he also recognized they were having success with what they're doing, and that's something you got to be really careful of when you're a head coach taking over a program. You're not taking over a successful program. Usually you're going into one that's in need of repair. Well, that program wasn't in need of repair, and especially with the fact, Ed, that he had a veteran quarterback coming back who's a successful player. So they are very similar in style in all three phases.
Bobby, Ray played on Saturday. How did you evaluate him, and is it still the same kind of process moving forward, just keeping an eye on him?
Yeah, he played well. We would have gotten both him and Jeremy the ball more. We just didn't have enough plays in the second half. We ran 37 plays in the first half, and they had 23 carries between them. I would have loved another 37 plays and another, 23 carries. We're hoping that they're gonna both have about 40 touches per game. But he played well. He was on his reads. We just didn't have enough plays in the second half to get him the ball more. And I talked to him right after the game. He said, "Coach, I was fine. Everything felt good," and he practiced hard and practiced well yesterday. So it's just about getting him back and getting a lot of work in practice. He hasn't practiced in 6 weeks leading into last week. But healthy and ready to go.
Anything else for Coach?
All right, thank you all for coming. Look forward to seeing you 12th Monarchs Friday night under the lights.